Okay, let's start with the future of Mbappe. Papers arriving all the time, of course. What is the first real transfer saga of the summer, gents? Let's look at the star back page quickly to lead us into this one. And Mbappe at war is their take on the striker's situation. Is that a bit of hyperbole, Miguel, or do you feel it's as high stakes as that?
Well, I mean, this won't be news, but I do hear that Paris Saint-Germain are very, very aggravated about the situation. Now, Mbappe himself is fed up with the way this club has gone. And I do wonder, actually, whether informing that view is also, I mean, for all, I suppose, the global status of Paris Saint-Germain, the French league is not exactly the most popular at the moment worldwide. And at the moment, I suppose, his main contemporary, maybe, in the way we used to see about Ronaldo and Messi, obviously not to those stakes yet, is Erling Haaland, who's basically, global box office every single week. Whereas Mbappe, it's got to the point where he feels like he plays about 4 or 5 big games a year, all in the Champions League or maybe the odd one for France. Now, Paris Saint-Germain are pretty irritated. Mbappe, like from what I was told even last night, it did start a scramble. A lot of clubs looking, can we actually do a deal here? But he's also in that sort of rare situation. Look, Craig will touch on this as well. He's in the rare situation where he's so expensive. It's a little bit like actually when Messi left Barcelona, that there's a very, very thin bracket of clubs that can afford him. I asked someone today within one of the big six whether they'd be interested in going or whether they're moving. I said, no chance. It's just too difficult to do, too expensive, breaks the budget. And I think that could be the case for all except about 4 or 5 clubs. Everyone would want him, obviously, but it's a question of affording him. And obviously, Real Madrid hang over everything, but there's a bit of tension with Paris Saint-Germain there as well.
Yeah, and a happy marriage, but he needs another dancing partner, doesn't he, Craig? On that note, let's bring in the Metro back page. Scramble for Mbappe. Premier League giants on alert as PSG plot to offload contract rebel Kylian. Of course, as we mentioned, North East is your patch and a certain Newcastle United. Are they one of the few that could feasibly muster something, or are they still hamstrung by the profit and sustainability?
Yeah, I don't think so, and I'll talk about that in just a second. I mean, the first thing I will say is, what are the odds that come the end of August, we're sat on this show still talking about will or will not Kylian Mbappe leave Paris Saint-Germain? I've got a feeling this one really is going to rumble on. And, the news of the past 24 hours, there's 2 schools of thought, really. Is Kylian Mbappe genuine? Does he really want to stay at Paris Saint-Germain next season and make himself a free agent next summer? That would be very lucrative, of course. I mean, if he does leave this summer, he wouldn't be a poor man. Or is it, does he want to put the ball back in PSG's court and make it a case of them having to sell him this summer rather than him agitating for a move? And I would suspect it's probably the latter. Now, where does he go? We would love as reporters to see him come to the Premier League, but you look at it, Manchester United have been credited with an interest in the last 24 hours, Chelsea too. And to go back to your question, Teddy, Newcastle United, well, no, that's just not where they're at the moment. Yes, one day in the future, they want to be paying wages of upward of 200, 250, 300,000 pound a week and big transfer fees like that. But the noises we're getting back at the moment are that because Newcastle have already spent £250 million over 3 windows and front-loaded some of their spending with regards to the parameters of FFP, it could be a summer where they spend somewhere in the region of 75 to £100 million. So as much as I would love to see it, Kylian Mbappe playing at a club I cover up here in the North East, I don't think it's one for this summer.
OK, let's go to the IBAC page. Miguel, consider their headline regarding this story. Obviously, Mo and Ali featuring front and centre, but their Mbappe story. Mbappe set to leave PSG with England on his radar. What's your read on this? What is the smart money? See out a kind of tension-filled season and then go for free? Is the smart money on Real Madrid potentially at that stage and compete with Vinicius Junior maybe for a left-hand side berth?
I mean, you would think that if you've got Mbappe and Vinicius together, there's a way really to get them together down the one side. But I mean, it still feels like Madrid is the most realistic option. It's almost happened twice already. Once when he left Monaco, once last summer. And that's another reason that Paris Saint-Germain are so irritated by this, because they thought that by securing Mbappe's contract last year and staving off Real Madrid, that was a real signal to the future of the club. Instead, Mbappe has just been so irritated with the direction. And Paris Saint-Germain basically at the moment, they're having a real think about what next. And they do want to look towards the long term, actually in the way Madrid are doing, where basically most of their signings are in their early 20s or even younger, given Jude Bellingham. But yeah, the Madrid interest is there. From what I've heard as well as the scramble around Europe, it's causing Madrid to really have a think about this summer's plans. Because at the moment, I mean, the long-term plan there was basically bring in Bellingham, bring in a forward for around 80 to 100 million, which I suppose ideally would have been Kane, as a kind of a 2-year stopgap before going for Mbappe again, maybe on a free. Because, I mean, I think the relationship between those two clubs is such that Madrid don't want to pay Paris Saint-Germain any money, and Paris Saint-Germain don't want to sell to Madrid. But, you know, with the situation as it is, they might have to come to some sort of agreement. But now they might just have to go all in for Mbappe. And then it really comes down to, I suppose, who could actually threaten that. Manchester United, I mean, they do have the money. I suppose there's a question, I mean, that's even before the takeover. The question, of course, is how much the Glazers are willing to spend and whether a takeover happens. Chelsea, I mean, given the expenditure there, it's exactly the sort of thing Todd Bowley would do. But after that, it comes down to him almost pricing himself out of the market. And it does feel either he goes to Madrid or he stays for another unhappy season.
Yeah, he may be stuck a little bit unhappy. What about Harry Kane then, Craig? Miguel refers to it there. Does it complicate the situation for him further? Of course, he didn't get that move to City, and it feels like every time we talk about him leaving Tottenham, there's not an obvious route.
I don't think Harry Kane is leaving Tottenham for Paris Saint-Germain, if that's the suggestion with a sort of dominant effect. I think
maybe.
If Harry Kane leaves Tottenham, he wants to win the Premier League. You know, the Ligue 1 doesn't have that allure. And myself and Miguel, actually, we were out at the last 16 game, weren't we? Paris Saint-Germain v Bayern Munich in February. And PSG were awful that night. Mbappe came on after an hour. They were immediately better. There was more energy in the team, more energy in the crowd. But, you know, you just look at PSG now and their model, the superstar model they went after, Mbappe and Messi and Neymar, it's broken. It needs a redesign. Are the top players in the world really going to go there? Miguel made an excellent point earlier. It seems as if Kylian Mbappe only plays 6 games a season, really. Would Erling Haaland, would Jude Bellingham consider a move to PSG? I don't think so. And I think with regards to what you said about Harry Kane, I'd be very surprised if PSG was the next destination. I don't see what you achieve by going there, especially to a club which, as Miguel touched on, you know, are in need of a rebuild of identity as much as anything else.
Yeah, it complicates it potentially for Harry Kane to move to Real Madrid if Mbappe's destined there, doesn't it?